Yo YouTube, what's going on? It's your boy SalvationsElite, and we are back with another video, guys. And today we're talking about OpTic Gaming once again. I know we've been talking about OpTic a lot the last few days, but there's been tons of news that's been really relevant. I mean, it's basically been the front page on the COD Reddit, the COD competitive Reddit, the last week or so, just talking about OpTic constantly. I mean, it's kind of the talk of the town right now when it comes to the scene in general, and so I mean, I feel like it's worth talking about. So the Codburner is back, and he dropped some new news on Gunless, on OpTic, and on CWL Franchising. So we're gonna go over all that today. Obviously, you know, I just want to cover it all. It's not just about OpTic. We are gonna, you know, we're gonna cover all the news he talked about. So before we do that, I just want to say again, the registration for the next community tournament, which is on Saturday, June 1st, this Saturday, in a few days, the community tournament, 2:30 Eastern time. Go check out my last video. We talked about that and how to enter. And we're doing a giveaway. We're doing a giveaway for the AKG headset. This headset right here. It's kind of in my way because the green screen, but this is what we're giving away. It's like a $200 headset we're going to give away. It's really nice. I already have a pair and I use them pretty consistently, and so I wanted to give away this extra pair I had to you guys. Again, the stream will be on Twitch. We'll be doing it live on Twitch, and that's where the giveaway will be happening. So tune in for that giveaway. So the Codburner hopped on Reddit and made some posts about what potentially could be happening with all these guys in these situations. First thing he talked about was Gunless. So Gunless, obviously the question is where he's going to end up in Rostermania after CWL Anaheim, because Rostermania will be that week after CWL Anaheim. And he was pretty confident that Gunless would end up on GenG. And with that, he also said that Splice would be a contender, but he said that Splice would only be a contender if GenG wasn't able to get rid of or kick Spacely off the team. So, you know, that's something to consider. I do think that makes a lot of sense. Right now, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of places where Gunless would fit that well. So that would make sense. The next piece, obviously, is the OpTic Gaming piece, which is probably the most relevant to right now. He addressed the OpTic Gaming situation a little bit, and he said Hex is very unlikely to get OpTic back in that May 31st. Almost surely that means the OpTic will be basically non-existent. And that makes sense with another article that was written earlier today about the OpTic situation, saying that there's actually more that we don't know about Infinite Esports, that Infinite actually has a $20 million promissory banknote on the whole situation. So like in the case that OpTic wouldn't sell, that they would still make $20 million off the OpTic situation, even if in the case OpTic wouldn't sell. So they still do have a lot of incentive to sell it to Immortals. There just seems so unlikely that Hex is gonna be able to get enough cash to outbid Immortals at this point from all that we know. I don't know, it just doesn't look good. And then so the Codburner went on to say that from what he's hearing, that more than likely that means that Immortals would just probably have the COD team play under a different name for this tournament, whether that would be Immortals or something else, and then they would sell the Call of Duty roster one by one, not as a team, but one by one more than likely the following weeks or in that week during Rostermania. So that's really bad news for OpTic Gaming, obviously. I mean, my word, like that means that Scump, Crim, Karma, Dashy, TJ, they would all be split up and probably sold off to different teams, or maybe like one or two of them to one team, depending on what teams want to do. At this point, teams are terrified of what's going to happen with the Pro League. Most of these teams aren't going to be in the Pro League. So right now, these teams either don't know if they're going to be in the Pro League or for sure aren't going to be in the Pro League moving forward. That's why no team would be willing to buy up the whole roster and maybe only on the cheaper pay up for one player to make their team better for this season or something like that. The only way I really see the roster staying together is if like GenG or EG, which we're going to talk about in a second, for bids, if those bids go through and they're part of the Pro League, then maybe they spend up and just buy the OpTic roster. That's possible, but it's hard to say at this point because we don't know if there's going to be a draft. He thinks there is a legit possibility that the draft would happen. I don't know how connected he is on this specific issue, but personally, the draft just doesn't make that much sense to me because that's just not how Call of Duty rosters are formed. Like, it's 5-man or 4-man squads depending on what next year is. Having a draft just doesn't make sense chemistry wise, and I just don't know if that's the right way to go. So that's about all we really know for the OpTic situation right now, but regardless, that's more than we knew before, and it's definitely not looking good. So the final thing that the Codburner kind of hinted on was the franchising news, and that's why I was saying with GenG, EG, and E6 all made bids, apparently, based off what he has information on. He said he had documents from Activision, and he sent them to news sources, but apparently the news sources are scared to piss off Activision because they don't want to be on their bad side moving forward into the Pro League, and at least that's what he assumes. But he said that as far as we know right now, those are the only 3 teams that are currently in Call of Duty that made bids for Pro League spots. From what he knows, the bids were already due. So that basically means that any org that already doesn't have a bid in basically doesn't have a shot at a spot, like an org like E United. So that really sucks. Again, this is the huge negatives of franchising for Call of Duty, and this is why I was so scared and so terrified of moving in this direction of city-based franchises, just because it sucks to see some of these storied orgs go, and we didn't even know about the OpTic situation at that point. So now we're moving into franchising with all these orgs that we don't really care about or don't really like that much, and it's just definitely not ideal moving forward. He said that GenG had the best bid out of those three, and EG and E6 didn't have nearly as good of bids, and he says he's not exactly sure whether or not that those two orgs would actually get a spot. So who knows at this point? He expects more news to be coming out very soon about the Pro League, but we don't really know that much more at this point. So that's basically it for all of the Codburner news. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, like, comment, and subscribe if you did. Again, the community tournament signups are live, so go check out that video and go sign up for the community tournament if you're available on Saturday at 2:30 Eastern time. And again, we're going to be doing the giveaway, so be there for the giveaway. But as always, guys, I'm your boy SalvationsElite, and we will see you next time. I'm out.